Coming to you from Final Third Cigar and Whiskey Lounge in Ingalls, Indiana, Indiana's exclusive Aladino Cigar Lounge. It's Final Third Friday.
Welcome back to Final Third Friday. I'm Rob.
And I'm Isaiah. We got a special guest with us today.
Very special guest.
Very special.
I didn't know I was a special guest.
Yes, Colt Carpenter, the master brewer,
Head brewer.
whatever, master brewer at Pax Verum.
Yeah.
So we are actually recording today from Pax Verum because why not?
Yeah. Glad to have you guys.
Yeah, thank you, bud. Appreciate you having us over. And
Rob, get in on your mic.
I probably should get on my mic a little bit better, shouldn't I?
Don't do that.
Sorry
Don't
about
do
that.
to me.
Check.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna drink some beer from that Colt's made here. We're gonna try some other things, and we're gonna talk all things brewing today.
Yeah. So, what are we drinking, Rob? I don't even remember what this is called.
Well, let's let the man tell us.
So you're drinking Midnight Shadow. It's my dark Czech lager. So similar to a Schwarzbier, but from Czechoslovakia. We actually just on Saturday the 8th, we just took silver with that at the Indiana State Fair Brewers Cup.
Oh,
so, yeah, in dark European lager. So
Yeah, I mean, you
And
just
it's
said
delicious.
that like it was a casual thing, but it
That
sounds
is
like
a
you
big
had
thing.
quite the competition there.
yeah, it was a chaotic night. We ended up taking 4 medals home.
Yeah.
I got a silver for this New Zealand Pilsner Title Rift, our bourbon barrel aged chocolate malt, Expand Your View, which is a robust porter, took gold, and then we took gold for a Indiana only category. It was the first time that they've ever done this category. So all ingredients, grain, and hops had to come from Indiana, and we took gold with a hazy IPA.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
Today, we're doing a little bit of a smoker's choice thing.
Yeah.
So I've got the Foundation Cigars Olmec, just a beautiful medium to medium full-bodied cigar. Colt's got the Cameroon from Aladino, just a classic.
Yeah.
What are you smoking,
Yeah.
Rob?
I'm smoking the Azulejo, Laranja Azulejo from Espinosa today.
Yeah.
And actually, you picked probably a really good beer for that cigar because a nice lighter. And is that your IPA?
That's the New Zealand Pils.
Oh, the Pils. Okay, so that'd even be better probably because it's not going to be quite so heavy as the New England IPA. So that's perfect.
Yeah, and we're actually, I don't even know that we said it. We're at Pax Verum for this.
We did, if you were paying attention. to
Okay,
that.
you did say that?
I did.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, actually, it's a beautiful day. I mean, it's like 80 degrees out on the patio. If you've not been here, Pax is in the heart of Lapel. If you don't know where Lapel is, it's literally like not even 10 minutes from Fisher's, Hamilton Town Center, just up 69. And it's they have a beautiful outdoor space, beautiful indoor space, great beer. We'll talk about that. A restaurant coming up, all kinds of fun stuff here.
Yeah.
So
Well, and if you're a cigar lover, seems like you can come here and enjoy one on the patio. They have ashtrays and cigar ashtrays, not just your pizza restaurant, little tiny cigarette ashtrays.
We have people come spring through fall. Sometimes, if it's a good winter day, they'll sit out on the patio. We do enclose where we're at normally in the winter, but we always have cigar ashtrays so that way people can sit and lounge and have some beers and just enjoy themselves.
So if you're free one night, you want to change the scenery, stop by Final Third, grab you some sticks, and come over here and enjoy some great beers that aren't quite in cans yet.
yeah,
Some are.
That's
We
the
got a
thing.
lot.
We do have. I think we have maybe 8 different Pax beers over there. Maybe 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have some here that we don't have that are not canned because they're either smaller releases or seasonal releases, whatever. So it's definitely worth getting over here and trying some of their stuff. This is one I'm really lobbying about. I know it's going to come out in cans at some point. I'm gonna put it on.
Is it, or is he just saying
I'm
that?
just saying that.
Should
Just
be
peer pressure?
No, it should
Peer
be coming
pressure.
out hopefully November-ish if we're
Czech lager,
if
it's
everything
really
goes
good.
according
It
to
is
plan.
really good.
So we'll have that eventually, hopefully,
Yeah.
maybe. See,
Yeah, eventually, maybe.
maybe, yeah.
It's never coming.
No, it'll happen.
It'll be here. Yes. So you were just at the brew fest, or what they call it, Brewers Cup.
Brewers Cup.
Brewers
Yep.
Cup. You want to tell us a little bit about how that went? I mean,
Yeah,
I know
we
about what it's all about too.
So it's the annual state fair competition for home brewers and professional brewers. Home brewers go against home brewers, professional brewers against professional brewers. And,
Oh, cool.
Everything's judged based on guidelines that are established, and so it's you're trying to sort of hit that perfect representation of those guidelines, so that way you can
So are you
the best.
specifically crafting a beer or picking a beer for those categories, or?
Yeah, so the Midnight Shadow, there is a category for Czech dark lagers.
Okay.
Now, in that, it's also then going against other dark European beers as well.
Yeah.
But they're all judged based on a Schwartz beer versus a dark Czech lager. They're similar, but they're a little different.
Yeah.
A Munich Dunkel, those things are all sort of in a same judging category, but have different stipulations. So whenever it gets to that, I really sit down and try to go through our catalog. What do I believe in the most? What do I think has a good shot? And sometimes it's also, what do I really want some feedback on? Because I'm getting feedback from judges who have certifications from this organization that then can help me maybe see where I'm missing something. Like my palate is just my palate. And, I only have those around me. So if I can go to someone who's got a little bit more, why not?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So I know in the whiskey world, there's a lot of talk over competitions. Ones like the San Francisco World Spirits Competition, those are fairly upstanding, but there's a lot of competitions that you can pay into and basically be guaranteed a silver. How does that look in the beer world, and is there a similar thing with that? I'm not asking you to specifically talk about this competition you were in, but is there something similar to that?
I wouldn't say that there's anything that I at least am privy on or that I have participated in where it's like you're guaranteed something.
Yeah.
I'm about to enter, we just signed up and we're entering and going to pour at Great American Beer Fest, which is the biggest competition every year in Denver, Colorado. And we're going to pour at that as well. So we're really looking forward to that. But that's, breweries all across the world. So if you've got
That's amazing.
thousands of people entering, no one's guaranteed anything.
Yeah.
So there's definitely probably a couple out there where, just dependent on what you're working with, how someone's running their competition. I'm sure it exists just like in the spirits world.
Yeah. Sometimes you see like this was a gold medal winner and blah blah blah, and you're like, who is that?
In 1975.
It's like anyone can make an award for you.
Oh, yeah.
But when it means something, it means a lot. Yeah, that's really cool. Speaking of awards, this is a cachaça I brought back from Brazil with me. I just got back from Brazil on Saturday, and it actually has some San Francisco World Spirits Competition awards. So we're gonna try through that along with a cachaça that was aged in Amburana barrels.
Ooh.
So a big trend in the bourbon industry right now is taking these ex-cachaça barrels that. What are you doing, Raul?
Don't do that. Just stop, guys.
The big trend is taking bourbon and throwing them in Amburana barrels, and it imparts this crazy cinnamon quality. Rob hates it. Absolutely hates it.
It's
so part of us
terrible.
tasting this cachaça and Amburana
see if actually someone
is to
can do
mess with
something.
Rob. But
Yeah.
I'm also interested to taste it because that's the native spirit on its native wood that it would be aged on. So it's got to be a lot better than Kentucky or Indiana bourbon put on a Brazilian wood. At least you hope.
And Isaiah was just in Brazil, so he really does like Brazilian wood.
To each their own.
So cachaça, for people that aren't familiar, is closest to a rum agricole, which just basically means it's a sugarcane spirit, and it's made in Brazil, so it's cachaça.
What's the proof level on those?
This one is it's 38%, so just under 80 proof, and this one I think is right at 80 proof.
Okay. So
the
more
aged
traditional
one, but
around the world.
I don't
I
actually
think it was on the
see.
other side
Oh,
where your
dude.
hand is.
Yeah, 39%. So
Okay.
we're in the lighter world, but actually that'll be fine since we're drinking beer today.
Cool.
But I'll pour these up for us, and we can
So,
start on the silver.
back to you a little bit too. So how long have you been with PAX? I know you've been brewing for a very long time.
I have officially been at PAX for 3 years as of a week or two ago.
Okay.
I joined in the midst of the COVID pandemic. I was laid off from a prior employer that I was brewing for, and I knew these guys and just kept hollering to try to see what I could do to help out, and they needed someone to start brewing for them.
Good.
So,
Yeah, it's a little closer to home too.
yeah,
You live in Anderson, don't you?
Yep.
I do, yes.
Yeah.
So I was working downtown Indy, driving about an hour to, it takes me
Would
about
you
$20.
like to put your previous
$20.
employer on blast?
No, they've closed
Yeah.
since then.
Okay.
They
Dude.
closed down
Yep.
all of them or just that one?
Just the Indy location.
Okay. I didn't realize. Well, honestly, I'd never been down to that one before either. So.
So this Cachaça aged in Amberana has a pour spout. In
Oh,
there,
nice.
Or the restrictor,
Nice.
so you know it's high
Well,
quality.
exactly.
Where I was at in Brazil, which was Carpina, which is like an hour out of Recife, which is where we flew into. Everything is so cheap there. This bottle of Cachaça ran me $7.
So it's the highest of high quality.
No, dude, you could eat at the Brazilian steakhouse there for like $10.
Thank you. Oh, that's yours. Oh, that's mine. Okay.
So we're gonna start on the clear one, and if you get any tasting notes, we're in very official smelling glasses, but it smells a lot closer to moonshine than anything else.
Definitely some old school White Lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a
Almost,
sugary
it
kind of rum.
reminds me of like some potato vodka.
Yeah.
On the palate,
Not
it's really
terrible.
sweet though.
Not terrible. It's got a
Yeah.
nice sweetness to it.
I could get down with that.
Till you ruin it with Amberana.
Well, I don't know. We're not quite there yet. Actually, it's not a bad spirit.
No, it's not as bad as I was expecting.
Yeah.
It's got a nice little spice to it on the back. Like not just the alcohol, like I get
Well, and the pisco that I know Ashley really likes. You like that too? Is that your
Yeah.
name? Or I know she really likes. Ashley's his wife. Is that's more of an agave spirit, right?
it's
Or-
a
it's
grape.
grape. Okay.
So
Okay.
they're I think with pisco, they're basically using the leftovers from the winemaking process.
I don't believe Pisco is.
Oh, okay.
I think that they are, from what I understand.
Oh, I
they're
was thinking
literally-
about grappa.
yeah,
Grappa, yeah.
From what I understand, it's just another way that they're taking and producing with those grapes that
Yeah.
are in that region.
So this cachaça is actually really clean. It doesn't do any of the rum funk that I would have expected from it. Just imagine a rum that the single tasting note is simple syrup, and that's where we're at.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really clean. There's nothing wrong with that.
I keep looking for something in it. And
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot there.
I could see them using that as a base and then adding their flavoring to that.
Oh my gosh! The cachaça. Smell the Amberana one. It's still Amberana, Rob. But
Not as strong.
so I think this one,
Unless my
it
nose
smells
is
like
broken.
green tea.
Matuta.
Yeah, it does smell
this-
more like green tea to me too.
This
yeah.
one is aged for a year, which I would have thought would pick up a lot more color from it, but it basically looks like a Repo tequila.
Dude, that's 1,000 times better than any Amberana whiskey I've ever had.
Oh my god,
That's actually pretty good.
I love that.
I could drink that. I
Yeah.
could not drink. I can't drink whiskey in it, but
So
sugar cane works.
you
I guess.
heard it here first. Amberana on its native spirit,
Is not bad.
I think it's
It's
fantastic.
actually pretty good.
I would say that.
What do you
it's-
think?
I like
it's
it.
iffy on it.
I don't not like it. Definitely, I get green tea on the nose. I get almost an orange liqueur mouth taste to
I
it
can see
halfway
that.
through, and
There's almost
but it's
a-
very smooth. It's not
A cordial cherry thing in there
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
especially on the exhale.
It's not as much cinnamon as it gets with all the bourbons.
No. So
Like
when
on-
they're doing Amberana with bourbon, are they using fresh Amberana? Or are they charring the Amberana? What are they doing with the Amberana barrels?
So
I know some of
what
them
I
will
know
do
from
chips.
Starlight is they're getting ex-Cachaza Amberana barrels
So maybe that's it.
and dumping straight into it.
So maybe that's what it is. This is in the fresh barrel. It's just like pulling the brighter notes out of it. Sat there with all that stuff in there, and now it goes with whiskey. It's
Well, it's
already
also
got
a
loosened
completely
up.
different chemical compound than the ethanol.
So maybe
heavy-
the double chemical thing going there with that, with the two different types of liquors, are doing something funky to it that absolutely
I'm
ruins
really not
everything
sure,
about it.
But this,
I can't contribute because I've never had bourbon in one of
I'll
those.
make sure you try some.
Oh,
it's
God, okay.
horrible. I don't have it with me,
it's
but I'll
not.
get some.
It's not horrible. It's a mood pour. It is just the most cinnamon toast crunch heavy bourbon you've ever had.
And by mood pour, he means if I'm suicidal
Really?
and I
Like
want to kill
super-
myself.
So like super cinnamon forward.
yeah.
Interesting.
A lot of
Okay.
people
Which I
literally call it
think
cinnamon toast crunch.
I have had some beers that were done on Amberana in the end, and it was great. Like it just reminded me of somebody like adjuncting cinnamon in.
I've been talking to some people more and more about different wood that they're using, and I just was talking to someone this weekend who's playing around with that. Couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but they were got some of it, and they were like, I'm just gonna do a test batch and just rested the beer on it, and said they were getting some weird, interesting notes already, and it had
Yeah.
only been a couple
Well,
months.
So
Alan Bishop-
Amberana initially, especially in whiskey, will have the tendency to come off as funky cinnamon. Like it has almost a. So one of my buddies called it a freshly fertilized field note.
Okay.
Like just that kind of funky, decaying hay that.
So
you know,
not like
almost-
Jamaican rum funk, but
No. Jamaican rum funk
like
is like-
barnyard funk almost.
Barnyard funk. Jamaican rum funk is almost like decaying banana peels. But the Amberana gets a lot of those barnyardy qualities, or kind of like you have a pile of mulch sitting in the driveway for too long. Like it does that thing, which Rob doesn't like.
No, I don't. This is not bad though. This is actually
Yeah.
pretty good. Not would I sit and drink this very much? Probably
No,
not.
No,
But it does not kill the
It drinks
cigar.
above
Like
its proof, though.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing.
That's under an
I feel
80
like
proof.
Amberana and whiskey completely ruins a cigar, and that
Yeah.
this one I don't see it doing that.
Huh.
This one actually I think complements the cigar fairly well. So, all right, no more fucking Amberana. Let's quit. Let's talk about something else.
I am really intrigued by that Amberana, though.
Well, and I'll tell you what, it's 100 times better than the clear, and I was expecting the clear just to be a nice sweet.
See,
thing.
I think I like the clear a little
Did
bit
you?
more.
I like
Okay.
the clear a little bit more as well.
I'm not normally a clear fan. Like, of course, let's go back to the days of some shine. But
Yeah.
like, most, vodka, anything like that, it's not my forte. But
Same.
that I could, I wouldn't mind that as a little sip.
This
you throw
reminds
that
me
in
of.
Coke and it just makes it sweeter.
I think this reminds me of something I think Ashley would love. Both of
Oh,
those
I'm
two.
sure.
Because I know, I mean, she loves that Pisco, and I know it's different, but it's that lighter, kind of sweeter notes too. So, which actually, that's what I was trying to remember. You and I met playing disc golf, didn't we?
Yes.
That's what I thought. I couldn't remember if I met at the one of the breweries or that.
Yeah, definitely. Somehow over at the old Sanders course.
Yeah, that was an Anderson. That's right. Okay. So yeah, so Colt runs the amongst the other 1,000 things he does on a daily basis. He runs the Anderson, or is it Madison County now?
Anderson.
It's still
It's
Anderson.
still
Okay.
our name.
Anderson Disc Golf Club, but he's all over Madison County. He built the course in Pendleton, which is a blast to play.
Yeah, we got out last Tuesday.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. First time I got out in a long time, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. But so if you're disc golfers, man, there's some great courses in our area here. You got to check out, and that's definitely one of them for sure. And you're in the process of building a couple more right now too. So
Yep, got one.
as if
Hopefully
he
by
has
the
all
end,
time.
yeah. Hopefully have one more done by the end of the year, and we'll hopefully next year I get to take a break for a minute. So.
Yeah. Take a break and make more beer.
So we want to get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm going to change our questions. Just
Yeah, well,
attack.
yeah, we have. Yeah.
So, what are your top 3 favorite beer categories? Like you're
Beer
traveling,
styles, okay.
Yeah, beer styles. You're traveling. You're traveling. These are the styles that excite you. And then I also want to know, like a lot of places have their here's our benchmark. If they suck at this, they're not going to nail anything else. Like you go to a barbecue place, that's brisket.
Yeah.
If they can't nail a brisket, like everything else is kind of bad. What is that in the beer world?
So I think it changes person to person. I would say most of the time, brewers, we almost across the board, I'm trying your Pilsner because if you can make a good Pilsner, you can make a good beer because you have to have good protocol all across the board. You have to be able to make something that's clean and you can't hide behind. Yeah. Where like an IPA, if something turned out wrong, I can just keep hopping it more and you probably won't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
When I'm traveling, I just got back from Asheville a couple weeks back. And so the breweries I went to, I was looking for lagers, Pilsner, that sort of framework. And my Saisons and sort of Brett focused beers are things that I absolutely adore. It's one of those, if I had the ability to do whatever I wanted, that's where I'm going. Like,
Yeah.
But the market in the industry is very driven towards hops and hazy IPAs. I make a lot of lagers, and I'm lucky to be able to do that. It's just also, and I make a decent amount of dark beer, which I get to make it all year round if I really want to. So those aren't things that everyone gets to do. I know a lot of people who I'm throwing all kinds of fruit in all the time, and I don't mind a fruit beer every once in a while, but I don't want to drink that constantly. I can appreciate it done in a crafty way, but not in a abusive, let's just dominate the beer. Beer is grain that, I'm taking and I'm extracting those sugars from and fermenting them and using hops to layer correctly. And so for me, I really look for something nice and clean, and I don't want to obliterate it.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing I think you do really well here is like you see some of these hazy beers that are, they're even calling themselves milkshake IPAs and shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, I appreciate what you do because it's hazy, but it's not so thick that it feels different viscous. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing, just like the digital urn, I've got people come there and go, oh, I love hazies. I say, do you like a lot of haze or do you just like, a little bit of haze? And if they like a lot of haze, I'm like, turn the can upside down and then pour and you're good to go. And they're like, damn, that's perfect. And it's somebody else that just wants to pour it out the can. It's perfect. I like that because I think we've been in a trend of all those milkshake IPAs, milkshake sours, all those things. It's like, they're good once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really hard to go back
I'm
and
always
drink
willing
it.
to try something. I've tried some really stupid things.
Yeah.
And I learned to respect certain parts of them. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Give me 2-3 ounces and that's going to be about it.
Yeah. So what's a beer trend that you just wish would die?
And did I happen to just mention one?
Did he mention it?
It's probably the milkshake IPA stuff.
So what makes something a milkshake, something or another?
So it's a lot of fruit in a New England IPA. Basically, is the gist of it.
Yeah.
Everyone does them a little differently. I've done them. I'm not ever gonna say that I make a great one. It's not my forte. I can make a great IPA, but as soon as I gotta basically make half the product with fruit, I'm just sort of lose interest. And
Yeah.
I've set out since being here and saying, like, if we're gonna do something, I want to use as much like real natural ingredients and not just syrups and other stuff. And that's what some people do is they're using a mixture of fruit with extracts and syrups, and they all have their place. And it's not wrong. It's just, for me, I don't have much of an interest to do that.
Yeah.
I'd rather, our Venomous. You carry Venomous at Final Third, and it's a tart ale is how I describe it, with some blackberry and raspberry, and it's just a nice little fruit tart ale
It
that
drinks
just sort of
super
works.
clean.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when you're when you're doing beers, you sound like you're grain forward sort of guy. You'd like to not have to go in on the back end to fix the beer.
Well, that's the goal every time.
Yeah.
You're clean fermentation. You want to have a good balance for the malt, so that way the hops can help even it out. And if it is an IPA, I load mine heavy on the back end of the boil time because I like the flavors and aromas that present themselves there more than being a big bitter bomb, which is what we were having in the early mid 2000s to early 2010s or so. And
Everyone was like, "Here's the most
Yeah.
bitter
Yeah.
IPA
Here's
you've ever
120
had."
IBU.
Yeah, exactly.
like that, it doesn't actually work. It doesn't so I think that there's a
I
time
don't know.
and place
Golf
for it all.
dads really like those.
I think bros learned to really like those.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like your philosophy is a lot the same of Alan Bishop.
Yeah.
Where he wants the grain, he wants the ingredients he's using to shine through and actually make something that's cohesive.
Yeah.
Like even across the board, he makes whiskeys and bourbons that have so many different grains in them, and he just says, if I'm going to use all that, kind of want you to taste it in there. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to age it out to the point or do something else to it where that's just gone to waste.
Yep.
Yeah.
We need to get you guys connected, or maybe we do.
We
a
will.
collab.
We're there. We're almost
Yeah, we've
We're almost
emailed.
there. Yeah, because
a couple times.
I mean, that's something you're doing right now. Which, if you want to talk about that a little bit, if you don't, that's fine. But we came over today and we were tasting. Well, tell us about the beer that was aged.
Today we tasted Expand Your View, which is my robust porter, featuring Sugar Creek malt out of Lebanon, Indiana. It's, I think all of his malt goes into it, and it's utilizing a bourbon barrel aged chocolate malt. So he takes a malt, ages it in a freshly dumped bourbon barrel, takes it out of that after a week, malts it to or roasts it to a chocolate malt,
Okay.
and then puts it back into that bourbon barrel. So it got some initial bourbon character. Then he roasts it to that to the chocolate, and then he puts it back in, and it pulls even more out. So I set out to make this porter because a robust porter is one of my favorite classic styles that just you don't see very often, and it's become thus my most award-winning beer. And I attribute a lot of it to that grain, but I decided when I went to Starlight last fall to pick up some bourbon barrels, I was talking to them, and they had just dumped some bourbon 12 hours prior. So I said, well, I only came down for 4. Go ahead and load me 2 more up. I've got a beer in the tank that I'll go ahead and fill in.
Yeah.
And I tried it before today. I had tried it back 4 months ago, and it was doing okay. It wasn't necessarily where I was wanting it to be, because I was thinking about releasing it with our 5-year anniversary, and decided I'm just going to let it sit for a bit longer. And I really was pleasantly surprised with how it sort of developed. Both barrels are filled 2 barrels. Both have a unique sort of profile to each other. One definitely had the more chocolate forward with a touch of roast, and the other definitely had a little bit more bourbon character. But I feel like when we did that blend of both barrels equally, it sort of pulled both of the highlights of both of them together.
So do you know if the 2 barrels you got were the same? Okay.
I actually just double checked they're the same batch, and they were the same batch and everything. And that's just what happens with beer. It depends barrel to barrel when I put it in, what the beer wants to do in it, and how much char was actually in the inside of the barrel, how much bourbon soaked into the wood and wants to then get let out. And
Let's take a moment to hear from our partners. Is your closet starting to feel a little weak? Like shoddy fabrics, misshaped, tired designs? Then 7 Strong brand has exactly what you need to reinforce your look. We're talking a 4-way stretch of polyester cotton blend, silky smooth, breathable, and above all, true to fit while keeping its fit. No? But what about our hidden collar button with reinforced stretching? It's pretty strong. Or how about designs that'll get you a standing ovation no matter the occasion? Happy hours to baby showers, the flight to date night, even from the shore to stepping out to the store. 7 Strong brand has button-down shirts that will transition you from one place to the next and make you stand out every single time. And for listening to our show, new customers get $5 off their first purchase with code FINAL3rd. Not to mention, all orders over $50 qualify for free shipping. And you know, just like any label on a bottle or cigar, these shirts are going to be a stamp of quality every time you wear them. So find your strength and style by checking out 7-strong.com, as well as following 7 Strong brand on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Our wonderful new table is brought to you by Deadwood Live. That's D-E-D Wood Live. Go check them out on Facebook and see what Derek can do for you. From bars to tabletops to a giant podcast table, they specialize in making super high quality furniture from live edge woods and reused barrels. So reach out to them on Facebook and see what they can do for you.
Yeah.
So when you're aging a beer, resting a beer in bourbon barrels, are you expecting the bourbon to interact or the beer to interact with as much as the wood as a bourbon would? Or are you expecting just the flavor and characteristics that are in the wood to come out over time and impact the beers?
It's a little bit of both. I'm definitely expecting the bourbon sat in that barrel for 4 years minimum.
Yeah.
You know, I've had some 8-year barrels that had presented themselves wonderfully, and also some 8-year barrels that just didn't present well at all.
Yeah.
It really gets to what's gonna just that individual barrel, and for me, it's also I try to make sure that I'm not going and opening them up too much, but that beer will soak in, and then headspace will dwindle. But instead of with a spirit, where that's sort of a fine thing, I'm not on a spirit level, so that barrel can develop mold. So I basically have to go in and top it off randomly just to make sure that everything's good. And sometimes that's actually some of the best way that you get some of the aroma is not necessarily that sample that I pulled, but opening that up and topping it off real quick, just seeing what releases through there is a really unique way to see the progression of that beer.
So where you're aging these barrels, are they just in the room? Are they refrigerated?
No, I've done refrigerated project before where it was really fun, but no, I keep them ambient. So with whatever is happening, that's what they're going through, because that's what I have space for. So.
Okay.
Have you heard of like forced, I guess, maturation? Like places like Old Forester does, where they'll purposely raise the temperature and lower the temperature of a barrel, so the wood's expanding and contracting. And
I've definitely heard of it.
Making that happen a lot quicker. They're saying that maturation happens faster. That's not necessarily true.
Sure,
but there is a lot more wood contact quicker.
Yeah, I think that's why I like to keep them at. You know, I look at Jim Beam's rick houses down in Kentucky. I mean, they're massive, but like they're not doing anything except just letting nature do what it does.
Yeah.
Now, sure, there's from the top of one of those rick houses to the bottom, there's still a 20-degree difference.
Yeah,
but
is.
I love the aspect that the distillers have taken of letting it whatever nature's happening, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's where you get certain years where it's like some things come out that are just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It may have been a year that they had no temperatures above 80, or may have been a year they had temperatures above 110 for a month. And it's like you just never know what you're going to get.
Well, and that's one thing I remember Alan telling us when we were down at French Lick. He said, we just didn't have a hard enough winter for the bourbons to be
Which he said
right
at that time, he said, this could have been ready now if we'd have had a harsher winter, but we didn't. So we're going to hold them another 6 months or so and see what they do.
Well,
I
like
guess
in Texas,
Balvenies or balcones.
balcones, they're dealing in 120-degree summers.
Yeah.
That's a whole other spirit that then is, when it comes out of, they could have taken that same mash, run that into barrels and put it in Kentucky, and the product is
Totally different.
completely different.
Yeah.
So
But you
I
can get a
like using it
super
here.
dark
Yeah.
Texas spirit at 1 year of age, just because if it's sitting up at the top of that rick house on a 120-degree day, that rick house is like
160 maybe,
160,
150.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
knows?
and
Yeah.
then at the night it drops down back to like 90, and just think about that fluctuation. So how long are you typically expecting for your beers to sit in like a bourbon barrel?
Depends beer to beer. Depends on what I've got plans for them.
So
I
know alcohol content does play a factor in that, especially in the bourbon world. But how much is there a difference there? And do you notice it different, like grain to grain or malt to malt with the beers?
So, for instance, the Expand Your View that we tried earlier, that went in at 6.8, and that's lower than what I normally would. Like, that's right now is about the end of when I want to have that be sitting, just because I know that any further is where it's going to start to not hold up as well. The mouthfeel will dwindle. So when I'm doing big stouts, or this winter I'm going to throw barley wine, hopefully into some barrels.
Okay.
I'm putting I want that to be a minimum of 10% when it hits the barrel.
Yeah.
Because at that it helps prolong its life and ability. Now that's, I've thrown a 6% lager into a small barrel and cold aged it for 2 months, and it came out crazy high, but the flavor was amazing. But I'm not necessarily wanting to take and then set that barrel for another 6 more months, because it's going to strip everything out of it.
Yeah.
Generally. There's different tactics people have, and sometimes what you do is you throw it in what you would do is you could throw it in a bourbon barrel or whatever barrel for a month or two, and then pull it out into stainless, and then finish it on some oak just to help increase that flavor.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
I'm really trying to go back to how long. Like I said, it's beer to beer depending, and timeline. What's my schedule look like for these beers? I'm more so willing. I'd like to minimum 6 months. I'm pushing for 9 months to a year if I have the ability. The green bottle that I released this year, which was the 6 months in Four Roses, 6 months in Starlight Honey, I actually have one of those barrels. It's still sitting in Starlight Honey, and I'm actually trying to get one of Alan's brandy barrels to rest it in for hopefully about 6 to 8 months before our 6-year anniversary. So it would have, sat for 2 years basically.
Yeah.
That's
So-
awesome. I think the brandy barrels would do something fun with a beer.
Oh, I think so too. I
His
mean,
brandy's so
I'm not
good.
sure it would show through on like an Expand Your View, because the brandy is such a more of a fruit heavy note. I think it would more add to the flavor characteristics of the Expand Your View, rather than like shine through like that first sample we tasted today. Like, it's very Starlight heavy at the front. Like all of the brightness is Starlight bourbon.
Yeah.
And then you have this dark chocolatey thing underneath. I think with the Expand Your View, or even a Lithranax, like that kind of apple, you almost think about it as apple juice notes, because his brandies are so clean and dark that they have those same characteristics, and a lot of brown sugar. That would just mix in, and I don't know, it'd be a crazy dark chocolate apple thing. And
Well, we're getting ready to schedule,
fantastic.
which I need to do that this week, Isaiah. Schedule to go down to see him.
We
And
are.
we'll ask him about those barrels too. If there's any way you can get those 2 barrels. One of them is
Rob does have a Gladiator, so we could shove
we
him
can
in
bring
the
him in
back.
there. Yes, we'll bring him in
Just
there.
stand them up and
Bring him back. Yeah.
yeah.
But the one is it's finished in a dark red wine. I don't know if it's Cabernet, but it really reminded me of a Cabernet barrel.
It did me too,
The
but
other
it was a
one
little
was in
bit
a bourbon
smokier
barrel.
than a Cab.
It could have
So,
been, yeah.
I don't know.
But both of those could be really fun to play with. The cab one, I think, could be a lot of fun to play
If
with.
you did a barley wine in that,
I am
just saying,
I'm
a
not gonna
final
lie.
third collab, you do a barley wine in that brandy and dark or red wine finished barrel. Like,
I mean, I've
that would
tried
be
some
heavenly.
of your weird shit you made at home and the stuff you've made at different breweries and stuff. I am excited about your barley wine, dude. I cannot wait to try it.
I've got some good plans for it. One of the things I'm gonna do is with barley wine. You can, and I'm planning for the aging process, and in that you get oxidation, which traditionally isn't great, but in a barley wine helps unlock some of these these deeper flavors. And I'm gonna use a grain from Sugar Creek, and it's basically just gonna be one, like a base grain, and then that. And I think that in about 8 months to 16 months, it'll start producing marshmallow.
Ooh.
Is sort of my aim point. Now, it's not a guarantee, but I think I'm trying to get at least a couple bourbon barrels. I want to get a couple red wine barrels, and then we'll see if I get anything else. But I'd like to try to get that so that way I can.
Well, and
start
if
the
you are
process.
looking for straight red wine barrels, I mean, French Lick also has that too. So you might be able to get just your straight red wine barrels too. So
We're just trying to get you connected with.
yeah,
French Lick.
I mean, honestly, if
they're good dudes.
one of
down
these
there.
days you're gonna have to just meet Alan. If you haven't
that's
yet.
that's
He
the
is-
hope.
You guys would just nerd
You
out.
want to come
because
on
you
the
guys-
podcast with us?
You could.
with Alan.
You have to drive down with us, but it's fine.
I'd love to. Let's be real about my life schedule right now.
Yeah. Well, that's like his handle on social media is he's the alchemist.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I look at you in the beer world is like you're doing the same kind of things he's doing with beer. And it's just a lot of fun to see you guys do something together.
The thing that's so refreshing to me about Pax Verum is that it's not just the same seasonal releases every single year. There are some staples.
Well,
There
yeah,
are,
there's
but-
got to be.
and rightfully so. The staples have earned their place. But it's not just like, hey, here's our summer IPA. Like, let's go. Here's our double
Yeah.
dry hopped, whatever, you know.
Well, and that's one of the things, like, we do have, I don't know, 6, 7 all year round beers, just because of our slogan is we're out there. So we're in the middle of LaPel, Indiana, which you ask anyone randomly, where's that? No one has a clue. So we
Right.
really adopt this, once I came in and started pushing, we went for a distro model where we're self-distroing from Bloomington, Greenwood, all the way north to Michigan. So, like, I can't just produce the same whatever.
Yeah,
I
you're
have
not
to
gonna
push
stick
it
out on a shelf.
Yep. And then one of the things that I'm working on now is to really create a new, I have 2 hazy IPAs anymore. One that's all the time and one that's periodical. Now I'm going to start a new series that's really just, it's called Stray Thoughts, and it's supposed to I think I'm going to have it released in September, and it'll be in once a quarter or so release. And Stray Thoughts comes from me. I have crazy ADHD. I'm all over the place. So how do I interpret that for me? Well, I got Stray Thoughts, so I'm thinking about different styles of beer all the time. And it's going to be a new hazy IPA series to help encourage me to try new hops, because that's something that we get stuck in this industry is I'm on contract for so many things and I don't get to play with new stuff. Well,
Yeah.
then this encourages me to, oh, hey, there's this new thing. Okay, let's buy some and put it in this IPA. And, each batch is then different. And I'm going to, because I'm a nerd, I'm calling it a volume. So it's volume 1 until indefinite. So
That's
Awesome.
amazing. Yeah.
it'll be a fun project, and I'm sure I'll be telling
So-
you to grab some when it comes
Oh, yeah.
out. So.
Oh, yeah, we will
So
for
I know
sure.
there's a hops farm in Knightstown, is it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Crazy Horse.
Have you used their stuff?
Yeah, the 13 and 32 we had earlier, that's featuring all of their hops and all of Sugar Creek's malt.
Yeah.
They're friends. So I've used their stuff pretty regularly for the past several years.
Pretty much since they opened up.
Yeah, I would say so. And then, I still use a lot of stuff from out west and
Is
other
there a
Michigan.
big difference in stuff that's grown in like hops that are grown in Indiana? Because I guess I'm not even really sure the native climate for something like that. Is there a certain region of the U.S. that they're grown better?
Yeah, I would say traditionally I would put us a little bit on the south end of the of where we should be at, but they grow well. You can't grow some super well here just because some of them like drier climate, some of them want more water. We're in, weird climate change times, so everything's a little different. But Michigan actually in the past 10 years has blown up with some good stuff. Traditionally, though, in the U.S., it was the Yakima Valley region in the Northwest. So Portland, Washington, some in Northern California, and into Idaho even.
Wow.
Because Oregon's probably the biggest source in America right now, aren't they?
Yeah, I would say,
Or close to it.
Generally, yeah.
Because there's a couple of big ones out there.
So, what was your intro into the beer brewing thing? And did you do anything before this? Or
did several things
Did you go
before
to
this, I
college
feel like.
for accounting and then said, I like
Of course,
beer?
you want to bring up college.
Yeah.
No, so...
I know the answer to that.
His college is very similar to your college.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, okay.
It's just an interesting story.
Yeah,
It is
so
very
before
interesting.
this, before professionally brewing, I had several jobs coming out of college. The only reason I got turned on to brewing was one of my best friends, right after I got out of college, was like, hey, I'm home brewing this weekend. Do you want to come over? And I was like, what are you talking about? And we were doing...
Are you allowed to do that?
I know, I knew you were loud, but I was like, I didn't know how you did it. Well, we were doing, old school on the stovetop with some extract and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with some of the smells that I still love today. And, really, that's what hooked me. And then initially, because I loved beer, like a lot of people around my age, I'm in my mid-30s, it was what got you. It was IPAs. IPAs were the first thing that really grabbed you and said, oh, that's unique.
You're like, that's better than Coors Light.
Yeah. Well,
we know what your favorite beer still is, though.
What's your favorite beer?
High Life.
Miller High Life, baby.
Serious?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
High Life is
Champagne of
perfection.
beers, baby.
If I could
I'm
make
a
High Life.
banquet guy if I'm going to
Don't get me wrong. I love Banquet. I love Bud Heavy.
Yeah.
But High
Bud
Life.
Heavy.
Yeah.
I like that.
But I love High Life. No, but so yeah, I went to college for a whole bunch of reasons, and then didn't have a clue what I was doing. So I was at Anderson University. I started off studying religion, and then soon left that.
Which, if any of you guys know religion at Anderson University, it's just Christianity. And
No, I actually was started off trying to do Christianity stuff, but real quick left that, jumped around doing some prereqs, and then basically decided I like just studying religion more. And I ended up with a Bible and religion degree, so it was Bible driven, but I stopped believing in those things. So my professors actually sort of liked me better after that because I no longer felt constrained to say certain things.
Yeah.
So
it's funny.
after I graduated undergrad, I decided for some stupid reason to stick around for their seminary for a year and waste some more money. And then basically jumped around job to job for a bit and worked anything from call center to I employed people with physical and mental disabilities for Aspire, training them to be housekeepers for me. And I managed 16 some locations around central Indiana, and got promoted from there to do something else. And I finally went into Great Fermentations in the homebrew store in Indy one day, and they had a thing on the chalkboard like, we're hiring. And I went home and I talked to my wife, Ashley, and I was super stoked on it. I was like, I'm thinking about applying. She's like, well, if you don't do it, you can't bitch about it. And I was like, you're not wrong.
Yep. She's a realist, that's for sure.
That's basically the reason that I ever took the jump. And I still run a lot of my life about it. If I don't try, I can't bitch about it. So
very true.
I might as well try.
The beautiful thing about that is, especially in the religious circles, people think your calling for your life is a straight line. Like, you'll know it for sure Rob was in sales for sports forever. Like
I
sports
started off
equipment.
mine in architectural and then got an engineering degree
Yeah,
and then went
and
into
then
sales.
eventually you found the thing that
The
you
love. Yep. At
And
53
it's
years
such
old.
An important,
Yeah.
It's such an important thing. Like that is really cool. Sadly, you wasted money at Anderson to do this.
Yeah.
I say,
But it was a
it did
path.
teach me. It did teach me a lot of things. You know, if nothing else, people ask me, well, what do you do? What do you use your degree for? And I say nothing, but also I learned to critically think and to question and stretch my boundaries. Like I don't feel stuck to, I have to live or live a certain way, but also I don't have to look at beer recipes, for instance, that this is the only thing that it can be. You know?
Yeah.
I'm willing to look at, okay, what's the protein content of this grain, and would that work here? And how,
you think
what about these hops? I use a lot of
than this is why this works this way just because it does, to thinking, why does this
Why?
work?
And what can we do to
Yep.
change
Yeah.
it up? Yeah.
So that's where I put a lot of it. Is I don't directly use my degree. I am still interested in certain parts of religion and whatnot, but I still don't practice. But I don't need to. I found other things that fulfilled that for myself. I have no problem. We've talked about it
Yeah.
before
Oh, yeah.
at the shop. Of I'm glad that you're doing your thing. And you don't pressure me to feel a certain way. Like, it's
No,
great, but
no,
like,
that's not my job.
I love to have conversation about it, but I'm not going to put it as the focus of what I want to do. I found things I like to do. I created community with disc golf and with craft beer. So,
It's amazing.
those are the things that drive.
It's
Yeah.
amazing, especially considering you went to to school for basically church.
Yeah.
And thinking about the fact that you created community with disc golf and craft
Ooh,
beer.
cool guy.
I think it was
Like-
a little dick measuring contest
I
out
think
there.
it was, yeah. But thinking about the fact that you went to school for religion, for the church world, like there's a lot of churches that don't create community in the way that you have.
Exactly.
And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, same thing for Rob. Rob was in
Yeah.
the church world for many, many years. And so many people in that world don't understand how real community happens.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like PAX and you in general too here, but you guys coming together was good because I feel like PAX does a really great job of community. You do a great job of community. It's a perfect marriage, if you want to call it that.
Well, and it's
of
beautiful
bringing people
that they'll let
like-minded.
you run with your ideas.
Yes.
There's a lot of places where you're kind of constricted by, well, do you think we can sell that? I
Yeah.
don't know. But
Well-
the fact that they'll let you try it,
There's definitely been some things that I'm like, I want to do this, and I think if anything, I'm the first one to say, like, I don't know that this is the right time to do it. I still think it would work, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very very driven with our with the staff that we have to have communication and to talk about what do you think's moving, what do you like. We look at trends, me and my sales guy, all the time, like
Yeah.
what's happening on the market. I think of the street tacos stuff
Yeah.
that you carry.
Yeah.
You're looking at it like, man, they would kill it if they came out with this one in that style. And
Yep.
I'm looking at it in a similar way of like, man, I could probably do really well on the market with this beer. Like, there was in the state of Indiana when I released Tidal Rift last year, I figured out there was one small brewery up north who was doing one frequently. I had never had one. I read about
I
it.
had never had one before.
I read about it and I was like, that sounds delightful.
Yeah.
You're taking these New Zealand hops that are super fruity with gooseberry and white wine notes, and then with a Pilsner base. Like, okay, I'm all the way in on this because I love Pilsners, but I love this fruity hop New Zealand, almost hints of funk that they produce, and let's put it together. Why not? Like,
Yeah.
I get burnt out on the IPA where this is 4.8%. I can drink that all day.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it was a lot. It's one of those, let's push ourselves. Let's not be the ordinary.
Yeah.
With the we're out there concept of Pax Verum, we also want people to find us
Yeah.
and to know, like, you don't have to fit into cookie cutter.
Right.
Like, fuck cookie cutter. Like, to be
Well,
honest.
and
Like,
there are breweries in Indiana, and I'm not going to say their names, but They
Oh, you sure you don't want to?
Rob
cool?
normally
I don't
does.
I'm good with doing it.
Okay, do
Who's
it.
your brewing?
Okay.
One of them.
Who is it?
Who's your brewing?
I have never had their stuff.
They dug in so deep on the what do they call that? The big thick pastry stouts.
Yeah.
They dug in so deep on that people loved them and they bought them and they sold them, but they got so deep into it. It's like everybody, that's all they wanted. It's like, you know what? You can only drink maybe one of those big bad boys. I can only drink maybe 3 ounces of one of those big boys because it's so freaking sweet. It's like, but I get why some people will do one because they sell.
You know
Yep,
what's
it's-
going to be
it's
a
a money
soundbite
maker.
from this episode is Rob saying, I can only drink 3 ounces from a big boy.
From a big boy. That's a big boy.
I'll say like you
Call
know
him Bull.
with like Hoosier, like I got no gripe with them.
No.
I wish them the best. Like Brian's built a good business model. I know some of their employees and from past and present, but like it's not my style of beer.
No.
I want them to succeed just like I want to succeed.
Well,
And I
I
want
mean-
everyone else to. I want Creatures and Anderson to succeed.
Exactly.
You know, we all find our niches, and sure, a lot of times 450, for example.
That's where I was going next.
You know,
yeah.
you create super fruity beers, and that's what people know you as. I don't have a problem with that. Good
Right.
on you. You know, I'm not into those. I don't want to make them. I'm down on trying it every once in a while, but like,
Yeah.
hey, go make your money. Do what you need to do.
But now when you think of 450 North, you think of, okay, what's the next seasonal big, thick, heavy thing you're going to make?
Yeah.
They sell them. That's
Oh, they
great,
do.
but they've got an identity now where I feel like you guys, your identity is you do a lot of traditional with a few things that are going to be a little non-traditional that balance everything out, and everyone likes all of it. I feel like you guys do a better job of the traditional. This is what beer should taste like. By the way, here's some funky stuff we're going to do
Sure.
along the way. And I think that's what needs to be done more.
I mean,
Personally.
and I think a lot of where we've come to with me being here is we're drinking a New Zealand Pilsner and a Czech Dark Lager today. You know, years ago, we wouldn't, at PAX wouldn't have thought of that, of
No.
doing that necessarily. We had our PAX True Pilsner, but, you know, there's other ways to do some classic variations, and I'm always looking at, you know, not necessarily reinventing the wheel, just what's that other cog look like? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if we change it, if we change our gear ratio here, what's this do? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Well, and that's, you know, like I tell people all the time when they come in, you know, because of course you're in Central Indiana, people come in like, oh, you have Coors Light, you have Bud Light, blah, blah, whatever. And I'm like, no, I was like, you like lighter beers? Yeah. Try the Pax True Pilsner. Do you like Pilsners? Yeah. This is one of the most traditional Pilsners to have way more flavor than most Pilsners are going to have.
And it's
And once
clean.
people drink one, they're like, oh my God, that's way better than what I normally drink. And I'm like, exactly. You know,
Yeah.
expand your palate, and then people start. And that's our number one seller. is the
That
Pax
being
Pilsner.
said, if you were to do a light beer, it would kill in our fridge. Granted, don't
it
do it
probably
for
would.
us.
No.
But
I mean,
it would
that's
kill.
my charmer,
Yeah,
basically.
and we are selling a lot of Charmer now too. Yeah,
Yeah.
which Charmer is their cream ale. So if you ever had like Sun King's cream ale, this is, in my opinion, this is a lighter, more balanced version of that cream ale. It's just
Yeah.
the flavor's there, but it's not so heavy, creamy on the palate. It's just more beer forward, which I like a lot.
So what
Is that
projects?
is that accurate or not?
I'm not going to disagree. I think that there's we just are approaching cream ale at two different ways.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
their cream ale is fantastic. I think it just took gold at the Brewers Cup. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't place. I wish I did, but
Yeah.
like, you know, I'm building mine after a different construct. So, and we're on two different scales. You know, the amount of beer that they're producing
Oh.
on one batch versus what I am, it's a
insane.
whole other ball game.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
you know, that's where it gets hard at times for me. Like I'm down to point out what's going on in other places' business, but like to say that their beer is necessarily like, unless there's a complete off flavor in something, like it is what it is.
And there are breweries around here that do that.
There are
a lot of them.
So what things are on the horizon for Pax Verum that you're excited about and would like to tell our audience about?
on the horizon. So we are actually in the process of, and actually officially, our beer garden is in the works, or has officially become all ages. That slightly became with the new state laws that went into effect July
1st.
Yeah, July 1st.
Yeah.
Man, dates are hard, guys.
I know.
But we
You
were
can
already
drink more if you'd like.
we were already working towards that, because next to us we have a King Dough Pizza opening up, and we're gonna share our patio. So you can go in there, order a slice of pizza or a pizza, come over here, get a drink, hang out.
So
You know, you still wanna come and have a cigar, but
Yeah.
with that we're still trying to work out some of the kinks. But one of the things with having it be all ages, it's, if you want to bring your kids, you can bring your kids, but they got to sit at the table. There's no running amok. Like, the inside will still be 21 and over. We're not.
Should be, yeah.
We're not trying to make it all ages in there. Outside of that, I'm really excited for just our progression as a brewery. We're putting out some of the best beer that we've ever done, day after day, and we're trying to just keep doing self-distribution by ourselves and distroing all across the state. So
Well, and I will say, and I know you would never say this, but
probably not.
Pax beer, when they first opened up, made good beer, but adding you to the mix has elevated it to a way another level, and I feel like everyone knows it, and that's why I feel like you guys are so much more successful now. Not that they weren't successful early on, because I mean the craft beer boom has been going for a long time, and it's kind of leveled off to a little bit of a point. But you guys aren't stopping because you don't have to. You're already in the mix.
got
You're already
your
there.
market.
People know you, and even people that don't know you, once they know you, they know you.
Yeah.
And they continue to come back to it. I feel like you really brought them to another level. So
I appreciate
good
it.
on you, bud. Appreciate you, man.
Outside of that, I'm just looking forward to continuing to make beer. It's the one thing that I enjoy doing day in and day out. Sure, it's taxing, but that's running a business. That's doing whatever. But I still get to do what I love doing, and I'm just proud of what we've made of it. So
It's amazing. Yeah, we're really happy to have Pax Verum in our cooler at the shop. It is an easy sell.
Oh yeah.
Every single time. There's
Yeah.
some beers that we'll get in, and Rob and I would taste through them when I was working there, and we'd just be like, that is not it.
Yeah.
But here, it's like we could buy any beer from you guys,
And
and
it'll sell.
it's good, and there's a market for it.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I'm not tooting your horn when I say that, but like you make good beer.
You
Appreciate
do.
it.
You really do.
You make very good beer, and I think it's really nice to have a brewery in Indiana that's not just sticking to one style, that's not just staying in their lane, but is experimental with it. Because I think that's a beautiful thing about Indiana. Across the spirits world in Indiana, like you think about Indiana getting into bourbon. Who thinks about Indiana bourbon? Everybody thinks Kentucky bourbon, but Indiana can do it too.
Yeah.
And Indiana can do beer just as well as anyone else, because I mean, at the end of the day, it just takes the right person getting their hands on it.
Well, and you were just in Asheville, and Asheville is kind of, at least around here, is kind of known for that. They got a lot of great craft beer
Yeah, they
in
do.
Nashville. I mean, small ones, big ones, whatever you want to go to. And I feel like Indiana's right there with them on a lot of the beer.
we're pushing.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fantastic breweries. I think that Indiana as a whole is overlooked a lot of times.
Yeah.
On the national scene.
That's in pretty much
And,
every
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
But I think that more and more people are catching on to what we're doing, how we're, I keep meeting. I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago now. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I walked up to the bar on a Friday because I was finishing up and someone needed a drink. So I go and wants to try something. He's down from Lansing, Michigan.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we get, I expect that for an indie brewery, but hey, there's a brewery right off 69. They got some good reviews. the beer looks solid. I'm gonna stop. And like he was a fan then, and took stuff to go. So, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for what our state has to continue to push forward on.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of customers right now because we're in summer in Indiana, and a lot of people are working. They travel here to work because there's a lot of construction going on in Central Indiana right now, and I know we've had a lot of people come in that they come into our area and they're like, look for a cigar lounge to come to, and they start coming to our place, and then they try your beer, and I know they've come over here too, and I feel like that's a really cool way to spread your name across the country without doing it.
Yeah.
It's like people go home and they talk about it, and now hopefully that brings more people both our ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like Starlight does with their single barrel program, where they'll sell barrels to markets that they're not really in, but that's just like a little teaser for that market.
Yeah.
They'll sell single barrels up to New York, where they don't have their full line there. But
well, I know another
great way
thing,
to
and
do
we'll
it.
close up here in a second, but another thing I know you guys do really well is you do collaborations with other breweries. Is there anything out there right now that's coming along the way that you're excited about working
and
with?
can tell us about.
Yeah, so
that too.
I actually on Friday was up in Michigan City with Burnham Brewing, and I've been friends with those guys for years. Did a collab with them in the past, and they hit me up wanting to do something. They've got a wood fooder, so think of an uncharred barrel, but this thing is 250 gallons.
Is it French oak?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Okay.
But
French oak is a lot of what they put wine in, and most of the time it'll just be toasted, but not.
yeah, this is they've had this thing for years. But what we did was so that's a Czech dark lager. We did a Czech pale lager and threw it into that. So it's gonna sit. They're gonna actually put some of it in cans. We're gonna have a keg of it for here. And it's going to come out at Way Out Fest, which is August 19th this year. So that's our
something-
festival that's coming up, which is we basically try to invite all breweries that we find are doing some cool stuff, and we say, sure, we understand you're going to bring us something that's your core, but we want some stuff that's not your normal. And anymore, it's one of the most unique beer festivals inside the state of Indiana because we all push our boundaries. Towards that, it's not necessarily a collab at the moment. I got some in the works for coming up, but nothing settled yet. But for our Way Out Fest, if you got a VIP ticket, which I think there's maybe 10 left, so they are going extremely fast, but we are doing a beer that you get a 2-pack of with each VIP ticket.
Okay.
And I'm brewing it on Thursday. It's going to be, I'm pushing myself to do some weird stuff, and I'm basically going to make this a play on an IPA with some prickly pear, some mango,
cool.
And then I'm going to finish it with some terpenes that this company does, and it's going to be this fruity, danky, just something that's super unique. So I'll make sure that I at least get you
I
like 2
definitely try it,
cans because I don't have much of it. I think we're going to distro a little bit of it in keg just to get the word out, but the cans are just in house. So.
Well, and I mean, you just kind of just touched upon it, but I'm telling you, if you're a beer guy or a beer girl and you love the festivals, this is the one to go to.
It
When
is.
they close down this road out here in front, all the breweries are lined up. You got food trucks. It's a day.
Yeah.
Just come out here and spend the
And
entire day,
tons of
drink
music.
beer,
That's
food,
the other thing,
music.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've got 12 or 16 bands this year.
That's amazing. Man, that's grown like crazy, hasn't it?
Yeah, our beer garden will have a band across from where we're at right now. There'll be a band over there, at least, and maybe one down on the corner. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I know that we've got several lined up. So it's a fun day. You get to try a lot of different, unique things.
And again, August 18th and 19th? Or 19th?
Just 19th.
19th. And if people want to sign up for that, just go to Pax Verum's website.
Yeah, you can just go to paxverum.com. On the top of the website, there'll be a thing for Way Out tickets.
Yeah. And definitely, I mean, I've been to a few festivals, And I've not been out here. I've seen all your pictures, but it's always during the times I have to work, man. But
Well, you know, maybe
I might have to try to take off this year and come out here because I mean, everyone that comes out here, they come into our place and that's all they do is talk about it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
so
they do.
I'm excited about it too. So,
Yeah.
well, anything else you want to add?
I'm good.
All right,
Appreciate
man.
you guys for coming out.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks
was a
for
lot of
being
fun.
on the show with us.
Yeah, no
It's a
problem.
blast. You can find me on Instagram at the Whiskey Pastor. Where can they find you?
At Pax Verum, or my personal is at That's Right, I'm Colt.
Yep. And I'm at Final Third Cigar. So thanks a lot again for coming in, or for us coming to your place, I guess, this time.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And we had a lot of fun hanging out, drinking some of your beers. Not
stuff
gonna
was
lie, for
interesting.
Sambarana, I think I actually like. So there's a bonus
good,
now.
yeah,
Sambarana's
oh,
not
yeah.
as bad as I thought. So
Well, we decided to share it with you.
Yes.
'cause You would be interested in a weird
we thought you
spirit.
might like some
Yeah.
weird stuff. So
It's got a botanicalness that's interesting.
It is
Yeah.
really interesting.
it's different. So
Yeah,
well,
but
thanks
thanks
a
for
lot,
tuning
guys. And I don't know what's coming up here soon. I don't know if you have anything to promote or not.
I
But
don't know.
all right. Well, anyway, thanks, and we will see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.